Thank you for listening to the history of Sylvanas Windrunner. I will be reading directly from the wiki page for those of you who don't like to read or don't have time to read but can listen on your way to work or something like that. I hope you enjoy. Ranger General of Silvermoon. Sylvanas is a member of the prominent Windrunner family of the High Elves. Her siblings are Ilaria, Verisa, and at least two brothers, one named Larath and the other possibly named Sylvos. Her family lived at Windrunner Spire in the tranquil forest of Quel'Thalas. Sylvanas joined the Rangers and eventually became their leader, rising to the rank of Ranger General of Silvermoon, military leader of all High Elven forces. The Second War. During the Second War, the High Elves initially sent only token support to the Alliance, though Sylvanas' older sister, Ilaria, took a squad of Rangers as well. Soon after, the forest of Quel'Thalas mysteriously began to burn. Sylvanas and her Rangers set out to discover the cause when she came across both her sisters being chased by a band of forest trolls, which they quickly dispatched. Ilaria alerted Sylvanas of the coming orcish horde, and that it was they who were burning Quel'Thalas with dragonfire. Sylvanas and her rangers raced to meet the horde to trap them against the Alliance forces under the command of the paladin Turalion. The battle took many turns, but ultimately the horde abandoned Quel'Thalas. Sylvanas stayed behind to hunt down any remaining orcs. Shortly after the horde was defeated, the Dark Portal was destroyed and the Second War had ended. Invasion of the Undead Scourge. After the High Elves withdrew from the Alliance, Sylvanas and her Rangers were the primary guard against any would-be attackers on Silvermoon. Despite the odd forest troll, murloc, or gnoll every now and then, Sylvanas saw little action and a peaceful tranquility descended upon the forest. She remained ever vigilant, knowing that this peace, however refreshing, was tenuous at best. Her fears were soon realized when Arthas, the betrayer of Lordaeron, arrived unexpectedly on the doorstep of Quel'Thalas with a horde of undead at his back. He attacked outlying villages, and Sylvanas and her ranger corps moved against him. His superior numbers and tireless warriors always kept her in a state of retreat. Arthas continued relentlessly towards the Elf Gate, killing every elf who got in his way. Finally, despite Sylvanas' best efforts, he breached the outer Elf Gate. Sylvanas ordered the corps to immediately fall back to the inner gate, which was only passable with the use of the Key of the Three Moons, assembled from the moon crystals hidden within the forest. Sylvanas destroyed the bridge leading to the inner gate to stay his advance. Despite her valiant efforts, Arthas managed to recover the Key of the Three Moons and destroyed the inner Elf Gate. Nothing stood in his way to Silvermoon. Death. Sylvanas gathered her forces to warn Silvermoon, but Arthas blocked her passage at every turn, murdering every runner she tried to get through. Sylvanas continued the resistance, but eventually was targeted. Arthas' army overran her base of operations, and the Death Knight singled her out in the heat of battle. The two duelled, and Sylvanas was cut down. The Banshee Queen. The official story given by the High Elves of Silvermoon had the Ranger General perishing valiantly in battle against the Undead Scourge in the defense of Quel'Thalas, with her body burned to ashes in the fire that had devastated half the capital. The true story was quite different. Sylvanas was not killed, but captured. Barely clinging to life, she was brought before Arthas. She struggled, saying she deserved a clean death, but Arthas, having had to fight her every step of the way, responded by telling her after what she had put him through, the last thing he would give her was that peace. He desecrated her spirit, corrupting her body and soul, and brought her back as a whirlwind of torment and hatred. Thus she became the first of the High Elven Banshees. Sylvanas, now undead, was a complete and total slave to the Lich King. She aided him in assaulting Silvermoon in order to secure the legendary Sunwell for the Scourge. Her mangled body was sealed in an iron coffin by Arthas as a way to further torture the Ranger. Sylvanas became one of Arthas' primary generals. She remained behind in Lordaeron with Kel'Thuzad under the watchful eye of the Dreadlords, who had been stationed in Lordaeron to protect it in the name of the Burning Legion. At some point during this time, Sylvanas succeeded in using her abilities as a banshee to repossess her corpse, becoming a corporeal undead creature. She learned of Archimonde's defeat at the Battle of Mount Hyjal from Kel'Thuzad, keeping the information from the Dreadlords. Varamathras, Deathrock, and Balnazar, the three prime Dreadlords overseeing Lordaeron, were convening under Sylvanas' watchful eye when Arthur stormed into the stronghold, fresh from his journey to Kalimdor. He informed them of the Legion's failure and his intentions to take control of the Scourge. The Dreadlords fled, outraged but unwilling to risk their lives by battling the new king of Lordaeron. Arthas approached his servants and ordered that Lordaeron be purged of all life as a tribute to Ner'zhul. Kel'Thuzad informed him that human refugees had begun to flee from the outer villages. Should they escape into the mountain passes, they would be impossible to track. Arthas stationed himself and his two generals at the three possible escape routes, each leading detachments of undead troops. They took great pains to ensure that few, if any, made it past their blockade to safety. Despite the efforts of the paladin, Dagran the Orc Slayer, and his companions, Sylvanas led her banshees in the destruction of all the remaining villages in her area, slaughtering any human trying to escape. Finally, she, Arthas, and Kel'Thuzad arrived at the central headquarters of the Paladins and killed them all in a vicious battle, annihilating the last of the civilian presence in Lordaeron. The Dark Lady. Around this time, the weakened Ner'zhul began to lose control of the minds of Sylvanas and a number of banshees. She kept this discovery from Arthas and Kel'Thuzad while continuing to serve. The Dreadlords contacted Sylvanas and explained that they knew the cause and arranged a secret meeting with her. They told her that Ner'zhul's, and by extension Arthas's, powers were diminishing. The Nathrazim intended to use this opportunity to seize control of Lordaeron. Sylvanas tentatively agreed to assist, but under the condition that her aid would be provided on her own terms. The Dreadlords planned on killing Arthas within the capital, but Sylvanas created a contingency plan in the case of his escape. She arranged for her banshees to feign allegiance and escort him to a place in the woods where she would be waiting for him. After Arthas survived the Dreadlord's ambush and escaped the capital, Sylvanas' loyal sisters saw him to the arranged place and then killed his bodyguards. Hiding in the shadows, she struck Arthas with a venomous, paralyzing arrow she had crafted. Arthas, furious at her betrayal, demanded that she finish him. She refused, intending to make him suffer as he had made her suffer in undeath. She was about to begin her grisly work when Kel'Thuzad intervened, killing her banshees and chasing her off. In her physical body, she realized that the natural world would never respond to her wishes again. Angered, she turned to the arts that were becoming more and more natural to her, necromancy. She altered her elven ranger teachings into a new form. Thus, the Dark Rangers were born.